Right now, you could not find your way home without help. Not really. Take away your phone. Take away every road sign. Point you at the horizon and tell you to walk. You'd be lost inside a day. That isn't an insult. It's a thing that was taken from you, and it happened so recently that your grandparents still had some of it. Because for almost all of human history, people crossed enormous distances with nothing. No map. No compass. No instruments of any kind. And some of them crossed an ocean. Look at a map of the Pacific. It is mostly water. Thousands of miles of it, with islands scattered across it like grains of sand on a floor. Now consider that people found those islands. Not by accident. Not by drifting. They found them, and then they went back, and then they brought others. Hawaii to Tahiti is over 2,000 miles of open sea. There is no land in between. Miss your target by a few degrees and you sail into nothing. They did it 1,000 years ago. So the obvious question is how? And for a long time, Western scholars had an answer they were comfortable with. Luck. The theory was that these voyages were accidents. Fishermen blown off course. Drifting canoes that happened to hit land. It was assumed there was no system because nobody could see one. That assumption held for most of the 20th century. It was wrong. The system existed. It was just held entirely in people's heads, so there was nothing for an outsider to find. Start with the star compass. Not a device. A memorized map of the sky. Every star rises at a fixed point on the horizon and sets at a fixed point opposite. A navigator learns hundreds of them, in sequence, by heart. So when one star climbs too high to steer by, you switch to the next one rising in the same place. Then the next. All night, star after star, holding a single line across the sea. But stars fail you. Cloud covers them. Daylight erases them. So there is a second system underneath, and this one is stranger. The swell. Ocean swells are generated by distant weather systems, and they travel in stable directions for thousands of miles. A trained navigator can feel several of them at once, crossing each other under the hull. Not see. Feel. Through the boat. Through the body. There are accounts of navigators lying down in the bottom of the canoe because the most sensitive place to read the ocean is the small of your back. Steer by holding a constant angle to a swell you cannot see. And there is a third layer for the end of the voyage. Because open ocean steering only gets you close, and an island is a very small target. So you stop looking for the island. You look for what the island does to everything around it. Land birds fly out to fish in the morning and return at dusk. Follow them home, and you have your bearing. Clouds stall and pile up over a warm island, so a stationary cloud in a moving sky is a landmark. Even the water changes. Swells bounce off land and travel back out, and where the returning swell crosses the incoming one, the pattern shifts. An island broadcasts itself in birds and cloud and water for tens of miles in every direction. You just have to know how to read it. Which brings us to the part where somebody had to prove it. By the 1970s, the tradition had nearly died. In all of Polynesia, there were only a handful of people left who still held the full system. One of them was a man from a tiny island called Satawal. His name was Mau Piailug. In 1976, a double-hulled canoe called Hokulea sailed from Hawaii to Tahiti with Mau navigating. No compass, no sextant, no charts, no radio fix. 33 days. He brought it to landfall in Tahiti almost exactly where he said he would. There was a full crew aboard who watched him do it. Modern instruments were carried, sealed, purely so the route could be checked afterward. He was not guessing. It was checked. That single voyage is why the drift theory is dead. You cannot call something an accident after a man announces where he will arrive, refuses every instrument, and arrives there. And there's a detail in this that should sit with you. Mao had no writing. The entire system, hundreds of stars, dozens of swells, the behavior of birds, lived in one mind. When the last navigator of a generation dies without teaching someone, that knowledge doesn't degrade. It doesn't survive in a weaker form. It's simply gone. Mao knew that. So he broke with tradition and taught outsiders, Hawaiians, people from other islands, because the alternative was extinction. There are wayfinders sailing today because one man decided the rule protecting the secret was going to kill it. So here's the thing worth taking from this. You are not bad at navigating. You were never trained and you were never required to be. Your ancestors were not born with a better sense of direction than you. They had teachers and decades and a reason. The difference between you and Mao Piailug is not the brain. It's that you have never once needed to look up. Tonight, wherever you are, you can find out how much you lost. Go outside. Look up. Somewhere over your head is a star that rises in the same place it has risen for your entire life, and for your grandmother's entire life, and for every human who has ever been alive. It is still there. It still works. It is still perfectly good for crossing an ocean. You just don't know its name.